Coach?
I'm good. How are you? Oh, they're all there. You can do my video if you want. You want to start my video and unmute me? All righty. Hope everybody's doing well. We're getting excited right now. Had the last scrimmage. Now you're kind of into this first day of classes today. Next phase of things really this week. Wrapping up training camp, putting some finishing touches on things, getting prepared to transition into the season. So this is a little bit of a transitional week, kind of touching on a lot of different things happening. Obviously getting ready to transition into game week, and 12 days from now, the next time we're putting the pads on, going in the swamp, it's for real. Can't wait to see, the Gator fans back out there, the electricity, the energy in the stadium, and the environment of getting back to having all our fans there and supporting their team. And I know the team's ready to get back out there and do that and play for real. So, pretty pleased with where we're at. Pretty pleased with how the scrimmage went. We stayed healthy for the most part, and so just going to continue to build and prepare and get ready for kicking off the season here in 12 days.
Edgar, go ahead.
Hi, Dan.
Hey.
Speaking to Scott Strickland the other day, he said that the team's 90% vaccinated or more.
Yeah.
The whole organization. He said if it's a good example for the rest of the world and the country and the state. What does it say to you, though, about the ability to do that, the commitment to each other, to the program?
I think we're very fortunate that we have, we're able to educate our guys. We have access to a lot of people. We have access to top doctors at Shands Hospital. We have access to information and meetings that we can educate everybody so that everybody feels comfortable with what the situation is and feels comfortable with the opportunity to go get vaccinated and where that leads us. So, I think it is really encouraging within our program, and I think it shows with all the information that we have, the decision guys make, and hopefully it encourages people outside of the program to look at that and saying, hey, here's a group of guys that have access and access to the ability to be vaccinated and access to information and access to people that can educate them on making that decision, and those are the decisions that we've made. So hopefully we can lead other people in the same direction.
I know we've asked you to reflect a lot on, all the travails of the last almost 18 months now. But can you just go back to where you were a year ago now? I mean, you were still almost a month from week one.
Yeah.
And I'm curious on that first, Dan, but then also just what have you kind of learned about, I don't want to get too existential here, but about yourself and just about priorities and everything over this time?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, that's like a book that you could go write on all of that stuff, right? I mean, a year ago, we're trying to adapt to different protocols, adapt to finding different ways to get a C team ready, adapt to whether or not we're even going to have a season. There is nothing normal about what we did. So I don't really want to do that again. For me as a person, I think, you learn a lot. I was able to have a great time with my family. Spend time with my family, be around them more, try to understand the balance that you can try to find in life, and and making sure that you continue to have great balance. But I learned I love what I do because I'm really happy of what I'm doing now and being able to do it the right way. And so, I'm very fortunate every day I get to do something that I love, and I love being able to do it in the right way to do things, the normal way, I guess, and if there is a normal for us, way to do things, and coach a team and coach and develop players and help them get ready and to go play football games.
Thank you, Dan.
Mark, you got one?
I do, of course. Hey, Dan.
Hey.
Curiously, do you envision what Anthony Richardson's role is going to be, and can you just take us through how he looked in the second scrimmage?
Yeah, I think he looked great. I think he's prepared himself to be the starter, and which is what you want, So, he's going to be ready to get on the field and, in just about any situation that it is. Now, it's our job to kind of put him in the different situations, so that he has that experience in every different possible scenario for when he is on the field.
More, you envision more than what Emory did maybe the last couple of years?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at what Emory did the last couple of years. I think it's you're in a different scenario this year, so they're very different. So it'd be hard to compare the two.
Chastity.
Yeah, Dan, Kyrie Elam just named preseason All-American on the second team. We haven't talked a ton about him. I guess we just kind of assume he'll be what he has been. But how important is he? I guess how much will this secondary sort of go as he goes?
Well, I don't know. He's the one thing I think that he's grown into is more of a leadership role back there. I think he's a guy that's very conscientious, does things the right way. Takes care of his business. Obviously, a playmaker on the field. Does a fabulous student as well in the classroom, and really lives up to what the Gator standard is all about. But also, I think now he has the opportunity realizing, hey, I'm the veteran older guy, even though, he doesn't seem like he's been here forever, that I'm the older veteran guy, and I got to be a leader, and he's bought into that role as well.
And then sort of following up on that, you told me and Hoover that if there was one unit that kept you up at night, it'd probably be the secondary, just due to youth.
Yeah.
How have you seen them grow up, so to speak, in fall camp? Is that level of worry still the same? Has it gone up?
Yeah, I think they've grown up a little bit, but there's still, there's a lot of scenarios guys haven't been in. There's a bunch of guys in the secondary that haven't been in scenarios. Like Kyrie's been in situations. Trey Dean's been in situations. Rashad Torrance been in situations. And Trevez Johnson's been in some situations. None of the other guys have really been in those situations much before. So, it's how they're going to, not just their growth and development, how they're doing a practice, how that transitions into a specific game plan from one week to the next.
With that being said, I know you don't want to give away the farm here, but you've sort of got 2 weeks before you really have to put your best game feasibly on the field. Do you throw them out there, let them get those game reps?
Absolutely. Well, someone's got to play, so we're going to put them out there, right? We're going to play a lot of guys. I think everybody gets caught up in who starts or who's doing what. I talked to our guys last night at the scrimmage again. No one's competing for a starting job. Everybody's competing for reps. I don't get caught up into, I've always said this. People should be much more concerned of who finishes the game instead of who starts the game. You should, hey, you have this many finishes in your career, instead of as many starts in your career. And because we play a lot of guys and the game's on the line in the fourth quarter, who's going to be on the field, that's probably more important than who's playing the actual first play of the game. But for us, guys are doing that, and so there's guys earning reps, and there'll be a bunch of guys that will play in the secondary, and as they get to see, they get that opportunity to go show that they can translate, not just from practice, but that translate onto game experience. And the better they do on game day, the more reps they're going to get the next week.
You had somebody yell at you one time for messing up his start record because of that?
No, it was it was a situation here that you don't pay attention to but it was Bubba Caldwell. We were playing at Vanderbilt, and the first possession of the game, we were started on defense. We blocked the punt. We recovered it on the 1 yard line, and so we started in goal line personnel with no receivers on the field. And if not for that, he would own I think Florida's all-time consecutive start record. But because the first play of the game we were in goal line personnel from the 1 yard line, he didn't start the game, and that changed, I guess, lost the record. So, that's why that stat is kind of like we should post who we consider the starters be, not who plays for the first play of the game, I guess. That'd make more sense.
We'll do it that way. Thank you.
Dave Waters.
Coach, have you seen an uptick in explosive runs from the running back position? Going back, you said the run game's been efficient, but what about those home run type of runs?
Well, yeah, last year the run game was efficient. last year we did a pretty good job with the run game, being efficient. But you do. I think the O-line, was pretty good. The O-line's been doing pretty well, to be honest with you. The ones really solid. We didn't. A lot of ones. The ones didn't get many reps last night. A lot of just seeing who's ready and who's prepared to play, and a lot of those guys have played. And I think when you look at the experience with the offensive line and experience at running back, you have an opportunity for more explosive plays out of that position, and you've seen it.
One player with that, Naquan, right? What have you seen from him?
Naquan's done a great job. Naquan's a really intelligent guy, understands the offense, understands the system, is a really good receiver out of the backfield as well. I think being an intelligent guy, understanding the game a lot, he puts himself in very good positions out there on the field, and understanding whether it's understanding the blocking scheme, the protection, or route running. I think he does a great job with that. So, those guys all those guys all understand we have some good solid depth at that position, and I think they've embraced that with the special teams, which is so critical. That's what the meeting's going to be about today. Is so much about special teams and guys' roles on special teams. And if you're not on special teams, I don't know how you're going to get on the bus, to dress. And so, it all comes down to that. And those guys have done a great job of putting themselves in a position to be special teams players.
You mentioned last week, some of the defensive linemen and what they can do. What about Chris Bogle and Andrew Chatfield? How are they coming along?
Yeah, Chat's been banged up a little bit. And just missed some time with some nagging little deals. But Bogle's done really well. I think Chris has really kind of taken another step of being ready to play, has a lot of flexibility within his game. He's a guy that, to me, has really stepped up special teams-wise, and that shows, so I think he's really, kind of taken a huge step forward from a young guy that was just, here and there as a rotating guy on the field and getting some reps into I guess if we were NFL and we had to cut it down to 53 into a guy that would be on the 53-man roster.
Sounds good. Thanks, Coach.
David Whitley.
Hey, Dan, I want to ask you who's starting at the cornerback position opposite Kyer, but who is getting the reps over there, and how's that position looking?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. You got Avery Helm, Jason Marshall, Elijah Blades, Jadarius Perkins, Pat Moore, Ethan Pouncey are the ones getting the reps for the most part. I might have missed somebody in there. That are getting that reps. So they're doing pretty good. So, they're getting all their reps and getting that opportunity to show what they can go do.
Give us a hint, who might be getting the most reps come
They're all, 4th? I don't know. It's not September 4th. They all get the same reps right now.
Okay, all right. Quick follow-up on the COVID question Edgar had. Now that school is starting and there's more social activity going on, do you have any team rules or guidelines on how guys should go out and interact? Are they allowed to go to restaurants, bars, that kind of thing?
Yeah, listen, these are young college kids right now that are growing and learning in the world and in life. So, we educate them. I don't put team rules in place of any of that stuff. We educate the guys on how to make good decisions, how to do things right. We've been around. We've been on campus the entire time. Our players. We've been here for the last year and a half, so we're used to meeting in groups. We're used to guys know when they should be wearing masks and encourage them to do so. That sort of thing. And so we educate them on how to make good decisions.
Okay, and finally, just to be clear, you had 90% vaccination rate, so y'all are no longer subject to any COVID protocols of weekly testing for non-vaccinated players or all vaccinated players that
the protocols are constantly changing, so our unvaccinated guys still get tested.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Aldo Verdi.
Hey, Dan, obviously Nick Elkins is a guy that we've heard a lot about.
Mm-hmm.
I think he, dating all the way back to the spring, I know Kamori Gamble described him as tough like 4 times in camp.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about what he's shown, and is he a guy on offense that might be one of your biggest matchup problems?
Well, I mean, he's a freshman, so he's learning the system right now. He has the potential to be down the road, yeah, because he has good size and athleticism, and he's, I think he's really taken advantage. I mean, one of the toughness things, he's been able to stay healthy and continue to get reps for the most part and battle through things. I think he's, only missed a day or two since he's been here, and with just different being banged up, and so. I think that gives him an opportunity. He's gotten a lot of reps. I think he had the most reps at tight end last night, which for a lot of different reasons. Some of the guys are banged up, and we're limiting certain guys and getting guys seeing if they're ready to play. But he's taken advantage of that and done a pretty good job. And, I think he's going to have a really, really good future with us.
And then on the other side of the ball, another freshman that's got to be a matchup problem. Big Dez, how's he looked through camp, and how's he done, especially in scrimmage settings? With some of your guards.
Yeah, he's done solid. I think he's still heavy. He's still a little bit too heavy to be able to play, and he knows that. So he's going to have to lose some weight still, right there, and just to get him where he needs to be functional. But he's got the potential for sure. He's got power and he's got quickness for a guy his size, and. We'd like to just get him, I'd love to get him down into that under 380 range, right around 380 to be able to go, play a little bit more consistently.
And then finally, obviously you said last night was kind of more of a scrimmage for the younger guys. Still 2 weeks away from the season opener, but is there any others that have kind of shown that they might be some guys that you can count on among the freshmen?
Yeah, we got to see. The freshmen, that's still, it's hard for me to say with freshmen right now because they haven't gotten to, they got to go to school for the first time today. So I don't see how they show up at practice. There's a lot of intangibles with them that still have to come before we get to a game. But we have a pretty good idea now of the guys that are going to contribute and put themselves into position to contribute, and, when you look and you have, what do we have, about 115 guys on the team total. And you're looking at SEC games, you bring 70. So there's 45 guys that don't even get to make a trip from 1 week to the next of the team. So, it's almost a third. So, we're trying to get the ideas together of who are the guys that are going to be on that 70-man travel roster and get all the special teams sorted out and finish up the special teams depth chart and go from there.
Thanks, Dan.
Goldie.
Yeah, Dan, I'm curious with the transfer portal changes in the last couple of years, has that changed your thinking at all on how you balance playing maybe a younger guy over a guy that's got more experience, or not really?
No. I mean, we're putting the best players on the field, and obviously still you're looking at player development and their growth and development, where they are, how much they're going to play. If a guy's going to redshirt, then we'll set it up. Hopefully they get the opportunity. They can play in 4 games, and we get them on the field to give them a little bit of experience. If a guy's going to play, make sure we're playing them, and get them on, make sure they're on. Like I said, a lot of it has to do with special teams. So, if you're looking there and you're fighting for that to be that 6th linebacker, that 4th tight end, the 4th running back, the 6th safety, those are guys, who's the number 8 wide receiver. 7 and 8 wide receiver for us. So you're talking a lot of those are going to come down to special teams decisions.
And then is there anything you want to be the focus for this last week as you guys wrap up camp and get into game week?
Yeah, each day's a little different. Obviously today's is a helmets only special situation day. Tomorrow, I think, is a little more third down oriented situationally than a red zone situation, then a wrap up and touch on everything situation Thursday. Make sure we've hit everything. And then Friday morning, we do our mock game walkthrough. So it's all very situational, preparing, changing the mindset from installation and all of that into make sure everything's applied for games. Then we, unfortunately, with how they set up the NCAA rules, our guys, we're able to give them Saturday and Sunday off only. I think it'd be for mental health and physical health, we'd love to give them a little bit more time off, but they, how the rules set up, they didn't start training camp a couple days early to give guys more rest time. We give them Saturday, Sunday off, and we get ready to go into game week.
Buddy.
Hi, Dan. Last week you said after the scrimmage you were really pleased with the way the running backs pass protected.
Mm-hmm.
Was there something yesterday that jumped out at you that was similar to that in terms of a pleasant surprise?
I thought they pass protected really well again. I thought they did a real solid job of that. I thought our all the punters punted really well yesterday. That was a really good positive thing, I would say. We did the scrimmage a little bit differently, and treating it like a scrimmage. So anytime there was a punt situation, instead of the drive ending, you flip sides of the field, you actually punted. You didn't punt at the beginning or end. And I think every punter that came on the field, we had 3 different punters come on the field, and all of them did a great job flipping field position. I thought that was pretty good. But guys played hard. I think our guys really, the effort and the energy our guys play with. I was pretty pleased with that, and especially handling the situation because, as I said, when you start pulling a lot of the older guys out early, young guys have the opportunity to go step up, and there's a lot of guys that put themselves in a position to say that they're ready to show and that they're ready to go play.
One more, Dan. This has to do kind of with the way plays are called, situational football, et cetera, et cetera. I know we can't address the whole thing, but now it seems like there's so many more packages for offense and defense to get players on the field. Sometimes that communication can be lost among players, the press box, sideline, whatever. Do you feel comfortable with the system you got in place now in terms of conveying to the players on the field what they need to do?
Absolutely. We do, you do a lot of that with practice. We've done that with some walkthroughs. You do it in the scrimmage situation. That'll be some of the focus on this week is making sure substitutions are done properly. But I mean, you do all the substitution because our job as coaches is to put players in the best position to make plays, put them in a position to do what they do well. And that's where the substitution comes in to make sure we are putting guys in positions to do what they do well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Matt. Hey, Dan, you talked last week, obviously you guys don't have a Tony or Pitts this year, so the running backs are going to have to be the kind of move them around kind of position. How does kind of Malik Davis fit into that with his versatility?
Well, same way. He's a guy that's obviously a very good running back, but he's very intelligent. That you can move him around to different spots. He has really good ball skills and experience understanding the offense. So the key to that is, when you want to move guys around and do all that stuff, the key is a lot of it is how smart they are and how can they handle playing multiple positions. And he's obviously a guy that can handle that, and we can do multiple things with him because he can handle the mental aspect of it all.
I want to take you back to Emory's freshman season. You played him in the Georgia game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not necessarily a lot of people expecting that. What do you remember about that experience that he had, his first real significant piece of action?
Well, I think if you go back to that, there was a plan. I think he played against Georgia. He played against Michigan in the Peach Bowl, and he played 2 other games, but I think he played a little more significant in that. And a lot of that is designed around getting him into different situations. I think he played 2 games that we won big, so he got a bunch of reps in those games. And then he played in 2 big games, so he had big game experience. And so that as you continue to grow throughout your career, part of that is just checking the box. If I put him in all the situations I need to put him in to be successful, so he's prepared to handle it all. And so that was kind of there's always a strategy behind why you do it.
Again, I'm not trying to ask you to tip your hand here, but is that a similar strategy with Anthony this year, or just
a little bit? We did it last year too. You go back and look at where he played in last year and the games he played in last year. Between him and Emory, of the different times and games and situations he played in last year. Trying to think of all of them. I know, Emory, for example, played the second series of the SEC championship game. So, he's been on the field right in the beginning in the first quarter of an SEC championship game making plays. So, Anthony, I'm pretty sure we put him in some other situations to go do things on the field the same way. A lot of that's just about their development and making sure that they grow throughout their time here, and they're continuing to grow and get better, and they're ready for whatever scenario that comes their way.
Hey, buddy, can you mute, please?
Bill with Zach.
Hey Dan, sorry to carry on about the cornerback group, but I'm curious what you've seen in terms of a response from the group to Jaden's injury, and if it's made the position battle a little more competitive.
Yeah, I don't know, competitive. I think, the guys just know there's an opportunity there to go do it, and I think guys are stepping up. I mean, guys want to play. Everybody comes here. Nobody comes and is like, hey, I don't want to play. I mean, our guys want to get on the field, and now there's opportunities for more reps out there. And I think that guys are excited about their opportunity. Obviously, nobody likes it coming that way when somebody goes down. But I think guys are excited about the opportunity that it presents them to get on the field.
And Elijah Blades, I know that he had been committed here before you were on the staff. You guys also offered him when he was coming out of JUCO. I'm curious what you think he brings to the secondary and just your thoughts on pursuing him.
Yeah, I mean, he's got length and he's got experience. Obviously, he just got here, so he's a little bit behind, and he's, trying to get himself caught up both physically and mentally. To help us. We got a couple weeks still before we have to play that, he has the opportunity to get caught up and go do that.
Thank you.
We'll go Allen and close with Declan.
Hey Dan, the way you guys rolled receivers in like an entire second unit at once last year with Billy, is there something philosophically you like to do that, or was there just enough bodies to where you could do it versus doing it as a one-off?
Well, we did it the year before too, and one of those it a lot of different philosophy behind it, right? It keeps players fresh for 4 quarters. So in the course of a game, right, in the fourth quarter of a game, if you're in a 2-minute situation, you have fresh bodies out there on the field. It helps with player development because the guys are getting experience going on the field and playing more. Helps with health throughout the course of a season because you have to play less total reps. So you're allowed that allows you the opportunity to go stay healthier. And then obviously the depth part of creating guys that are ready to go play. So when you look and you say, okay, hey, we had the last 2 years we've put 6 wide receivers in the NFL. And this year, it's not like, okay, we have a bunch of guys no one's played. We have, I think, at least 4 wide receivers that have touchdown catches. And which is a lot on the roster coming into the season, and that's a lot when you've put 6 in the NFL in the last 2 years. So, that's kind of the belief behind it.
Does it also help you to know that you got a whole sub package going into the next series, and it can kind of give you a chance to get your play calling set up?
Yeah, I mean, you do a little bit around that, but we trust our guys, we call the game, and they're expected to go make the plays, of who's in. We believe you can be on the field. We believe you can go make the play. And so, most of it's kind of set around there, and as guys are prepared, and the more guys that are ready to play, the more guys we do play.
Mm-hmm. And the last part, I know you guys are trying to get from rep to rep and practice to practice and day to day, but when you're looking at long-term goals and what you guys want to do as a program, how do you get guys jazzed up for that while keeping them focused on the next minute and the next play?
Well, I just think, that's the job. The overall philosophy of the program that we create is you're always looking program-wise, but that doesn't have any effect on this year's team. The program-wise is what we build and the culture that we build here. And that culture within the team, that culture within the players, the culture from the coaches, from the strength staff, the culture of everybody in the organization is what carries and pushes the program ahead into the future. And then the individual players, as they come in, they look, and we're on this year's team, and a lot of guys were on last year's team, but last year's team is very different than this year's team. Guys are going to have the opportunity to come in and be a part of 4 different individual teams while they're here. And those are 4 different unique experiences. But the culture of the program as a whole doesn't change.
Thanks, Dan.
Declan.
Hey, Coach, just 2 questions. So you spoke about the punters doing well in scrimmages. Can you give me an idea of, I guess, who's getting the reps of punting, and is anybody kind of leading the way, and you kind of project to get the most reps from there?
Well, I mean, we haven't said anything, but the guys, there's, let's see, who's getting the reps? Chrisman, Waxman is getting reps. Brady didn't go last night. He has a little injury he's dealing with. And then Jezza is, they're getting reps. Everybody gets the same reps. So, and you guys like, who gets the most? Everyone. How we do it, everyone gets the same reps so that we have multiple guys prepared, and that's on every position on the field.
And I guess, is there a philosophy about trying to create a very, game-like scrimmage setting, whether that be like, intensity on the field or like pumping in crowd noise or anything like that?
Well, I mean, anytime you go in the stadium, it's a different mindset. There's pride that you take with playing every time you step foot on the field in the swamp. So that's really the biggest mindset of what we do. Scrimmage-wise, you kind of stay off and let the guys play. Last when we get into scrimmage situations, you want to see how guys can handle, how they translate everything we've learned into a game situation. A sack is a drive killer. You don't just put the ball down and play the next play. An explosive play is a touchdown. You don't just put the ball down and play the next play. So you feel the game situation and of what goes on while you're there, and the players get a feel for how each individual play is going to have an effect on that drive and an effect on the game where you don't get that as much in practice.
I appreciate it, Coach.
Yep.
Edgar had one final one before we go.
Yes, sorry. I didn't want to just ask COVID questions, Dan.
Okay.
So the two new secondary coaches,
Yeah.
I think we might be getting them in the next couple of days. What have those two guys brought to the program? How have they changed the energy, the approach at those two positions?
Well, I think that they've done a great job, really, of working together and communicating together and making sure everybody's on the same page. There's when you look at it, you have the two safety positions, two corner positions, and a star position. And it's when you look at all of those things, it's making sure every one of those guys communicate and everyone's on the same page. I think they've done a great job of doing that, of helping the young guys develop and getting themselves prepared, and the mindset and the leadership and just the attitude and the demeanor within the room. I think they've done a great job improving that and, of getting the secondary to work as one whole unit instead of as somewhat independent contractors.
Do you see the level of play elevated?
Yeah. There obviously you had some veteran guys last year that probably had so it's a very whole different feel this year with a lot of young guys. We have some young talented guys that I'm really excited about, but you see them make mistakes that, are not as much physical, but mental mistakes that we got to get corrected and fixed up.
Thank you, Dan.
Yep.
Appreciate the time.
Thanks,
All
Coach.
right. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.